I'm changing what I'm choosing to fill my mind with, so then I alter my state. Because what happens, all of my moods come from my thoughts. I call it the freedom formula, is think, feel, do, results. How I think governs how I feel. How I feel governs how I do things. And how I do things governs the results that occur in my life.
Welcome to the Learn It All podcast, the show for today's leaders who want to get ahead and stay ahead, because we believe great leaders aren't born or made, they are always in the making. I'm your host, Damon Lemby. I'm a 2-time best-selling author and CEO of Learn It, a live learning platform that has helped upskill over 2 million people. In just a moment, I'll be joined by my good buddy, Chris Dorris. Chris is a world-famous mental toughness coach. He's also an author, and he uses mental toughness training techniques to help you close the gap between how your life is and how you want your life to be. I'm a huge fan of his work, and I can't wait to dig into things like why most of us wait for life to go right before we allow ourselves to feel good. And Chris is going to explain why he believes that mental toughness is really about unlearning. I'm also looking forward to diving into one of my biggest pet peeves, and that's people with victim mentalities. And I want him to share how people can break out of it. Hey man, I have to ask this. How's your day going?
Oh, what a fact. Thank you for asking, first of all. Let's see. Oh, you know what today is? It's the best damn day of my life.
Why so?
When I say that, I'm at Safeway, right? Getting groceries. I'll go through the line, and the checkout person, they say, "Hey, how you doing?" They may not even make an eye contact, I don't know if they really give a shit. It's just a greeting, But they ask, so I'm going to answer. I'll say, "This is the best damn day of my life." And sometimes they look up and they'll say, "Why? What happened?" And I'll say, "Nothing." Well, actually, the only thing that needs to happen for it to be the best day of my life, well, there's 2 things. 1, I need to wake up. And then 2, I need to do a ritual, which I do every single morning. In fact, on my bathroom mirror in dry erase marker, it's written BDDOML, best damn day of my life, to remind me to create that state. And some days it ain't so easy. Okay, for a multitude of reasons. It doesn't matter what they are. Just some days, maybe you wake up, or like today, I'm a little bit sick, and it's not as easy as it was yesterday. I felt fine, right? But I'll still do the ritual, which is I'll alter my state, which is really foundational to the work that I do, right? I will alter my state to have it be true. It's not just blah, blah, like kumbaya crap language. It's like work. And it's true. This is the best damn day of my life, because I altered my state. So I woke up, I'm getting a hip replacement in 3 weeks from yesterday, and I'm in a bunch of pain. So I'm in pain, first of all. And then I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I'm sneezing. I'm like sick. I'm like, FML. I'm like, well, now that's not the way I want to go though today. I don't want to be that guy. So I alter my state. And today was work. It's like real work. The first time I said it to myself, I'm like, that's bullshit. This is not the best day of my life. I'm like, come on, bro, don't bail. Do the work. So the mantra for this is create the state, don't wait. And it could be any state, because we create all of our states. So the first one I create every day is, let's just have this be the best day of my life. Like, I ain't got time to wait for stuff to go great, to feel great. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think we have time to wait for anything. It's important to take action, isn't it? Because if you sit back and wait, you're going to have a tough time, I think, with life in general.
Yeah. And the action that I take is profoundly more masterful when I take it from high-grade states like enthusiasm and certainty, right? Expertise, confidence, gratitude. All of these states are instantly accessible. You want to do an exercise on that?
I'd love to.
All right. So whoever is watching / listening to this, please participate in this. Okay. So do whatever you got to do inside yourself to create the emotional state of anxiety. Go. Let me know when you're done.
I'm there.
Okay. How did you do that?
Thinking about things that I never want to have happen.
There. Okay. So notice that your answer began with the 2 words thinking about. Okay. Let's do another one. And I apologize in advance. I'm probably going to hear that like through the whole damn interview. My bad. It's like I got things. So do whatever you got to do inside yourself to create the emotional state of serenity. And let me know when you're done. Go.
All right, I'm there.
How'd you do that one?
Thinking about my happy place, Canyon Ranch in Tucson, Arizona, waking up in the morning, listening to the birds where it's all just peaceful. That's where I feel the most serenity.
So again, you started your answer with the words thinking about, right? So you're noticing a pattern here. Let's do a couple more. Do whatever you got to do inside yourself to create the emotional experience or the state of imposter syndrome. Let me know when you're done. Go.
All right, I'm there.
Okay, so you're 3 for 3. You're batting 1,000 on this, right? How did you manage to succeed at that task?
Well, imposter syndrome's something I always have dealt with quite a bit in the past, whether it was in baseball and other situations. So I brought myself back to a time where I really struggled with it and what that moment was like. And so I just went back to that place.
Now, let me paraphrase that, but don't let me put words in your mouth, right? So in other words, to accomplish the task, which was to actually create, like legitimately create the experience of imposter syndrome, that emotional state, you chose to fill your mind with some content that would have you feel that. That's how you did it. You chose to fill your mind with thought content that would create that state. That's how you did it?
100%, 100%, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I chose it.
Yeah. So, all right. So we'll do one more. Do whatever you got to do inside yourself to create the emotional state of world-class expertise. Best in class. Let me know when you're done. Go.
I think I'm close enough to be in there.
Well, okay. So what effort did you go to there to accomplish that?
I was, again, thinking about times where I was either in the flow or something went really, really well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good. Those are, by the way, those are great memories to choose to access often. So if you'll notice what we just did, we traveled what you could call the human emotional spectrum twice. We started with low grade at the low end of the spectrum with anxiety, and then we traveled over to the high end of the spectrum with serenity. And we traveled back to the low end of the spectrum with imposter syndrome and back up to the high end with world-class expertise. Those are polar opposite emotional states, and you just traverse that whole deal in a matter of moments twice. And nothing in the world changed except the content that you were choosing to fill your mind with. So if there's only one takeaway for your audience from our conversation today, let's have it be that, which is to spell it out real simply. We possess and always have possessed the ability to profoundly alter our states in a moment's time. And our states govern how we show up or if we show up in life. You talked about, we got to take action. Yeah, we do. But what's the action you want to take? Because if I'm taking action from low grade, like anxiety-based state, that ain't going to work well for me. That's not going to create the results that I want. Now, you know what's weird to me is that there wasn't a class, like we didn't learn this in like first grade. Like how come we didn't have that very exercise in first grade? So we learn as very young humans that we possess the ability to alter our states. I'll tell you, if we all learned that as kids and practiced it and got some mastery in altering our states, I feel like the world would be a whole lot different in a whole better way.
Because don't you think that as children, you're kind of whole. You don't have any of these limiting beliefs. You're not told what you can't do. But as the world happens to you, they start getting programmed into you. And like I've heard you say, Chris, that mental toughness is more about unlearning than it is actually about learning.
Yeah, it is. So, it's about freeing ourselves from the conditioning of our past that would have us play small. Freeing ourselves from the learning of our past, right, that would have us unnecessarily settle, struggle, or even worse, suffer. And I believe that that's the cool game that we get to play. Like that's the ultimate game that we get to play as humans, is to free ourselves from the conditioning of our past, all the stuff that we learn that doesn't serve us. Because like you just said, when we come into this life, I'm convinced we're doubtless. Like we don't know what doubt is. Like doubt Can you hand me some doubt? Hand me one doubt. It's a construct. It's just an idea. It's like I said, can you give me a pen? It's a thing. Doubt's just a construct and it's an idea, and we practice it after we learn it. Like you say as a kid at some stage, like, I want to be an astronaut, the president, and a truck driver, and an NBA all-star. And then somebody's going to go, what are you talking about? How the hell would you ever do that? And then you just, that question alone and the way it's asked has you become curious. Like, but did I say something stupid? Like, is that, what was wrong with what I said? Those are my wants. That's what I want. And then you get that reaction and you start to learn without knowing you're learning that your desires are ridiculous. And you start learning shit about like what's unrealistic, what's practical or impractical. You start questioning possibilities, as opposed to when we come into this life, we exist in a world of infinite possibilities. The world is just infinite possibilities. Did I ever tell you, or did you ever hear the story of my nephew Benny and my car keys?
No, tell me.
One day I'm back home in South Jersey watching an Eagles game on a football Sunday at my sister's house. And at the time she had one kid and his name's Benny and he was an infant. So he wasn't even walking yet. So I'm in the family room watching Donovan McNabb throw dirt balls. And then my sister yells in, she goes, "Hey, Chris, Benny's coming in. Can you keep your eye on him?" I said, "Hell yeah. Yeah, I got him." So I'm looking over there. The TV's over there. And over here, the south wall of the family room is a huge brick fireplace with bookshelves on either side. Super cool. I had a shelf up there where I threw my car keys earlier. Now, what happened was, and I didn't know any of this, is Benny crawled in and he looked up. I didn't know this yet. And he saw this shiny object, which were my keys, up on the shelf. Because I guess I just threw them. And they had situated themselves underneath like one of those canned lights, so it must have been shining. Again, I don't know any of this yet. Right? So he starts motoring over, and in my infinite egoic nature, I think my guy is coming to check out to say hi to Uncle Chris. Yeah, no, he just passes by me. I'm like, I guess I'm not the thing, but like as he gets closer to the fireplace, he's getting my attention because I don't want him to like hit his mouth on the brick, and so I'm like, he's got my attention. Now, pause the story for a moment. And let's talk for a second about what did not happen before we finish the story. Okay, so what didn't happen was the number one mistake that I observe people making in the pursuit of their desires. That's waiting. Putting unnecessary time between ourselves and that which we want. So he sees these keys that are literally way out of reach. He don't know it's just some shiny shit in the sky. He's like, wow, let's go get it. And what he didn't do is go, yeah, but how the hell do I pull that off? How's that going to work? That's like 5 feet up in the air. I'm 2. If I could stand, I can't even. How's this shit go? There's none of that. None of that questioning. None. Zero. Not even a half a millisecond of it. Let's get that. Let's all let that sink in. There was zero pause between the onset of a desire and then movement towards the action you're talking about. Without any hesitation. That's normal. The hesitation is learned. So this is all of us, right? So back to the story. He's got my attention and he's making some noise. He's looking up. I'm like, what are you doing, man? And I look up and I see the keys. I go, oh, all right, dude. I get up off my ass. I grab the keys and I drop them. He gets them. He manifested his desire with virtual, effortless ease. Uncle CD did all the damn work. That's powerful. And the mantra for the mental toughness mantra for that is the how is in the what. Another way of saying that is inherent within your desires are the mechanics for their own fulfillment. So let's trust that. Because he modeled it. And after I gave him the keys, I started thinking, and I couldn't even watch the football game anymore. I'm like, that's amazing. I want to be that guy always. It's like, as soon as the desire hits, I want to move towards with absolute enthusiasm and certainty. And even maybe a little cool curiosity. Let's just say, can't wait to see how it unfolds. But the how I make him pause, So we can. So the reason I thought of that story, I tell that story in multiple contexts. The one here was we were talking about doubtlessness. See, he ain't learned doubt yet. He hasn't been educated about that yet. Educated, So our natural state is doubtlessness. So we get to unlearn. And it's a practice. That's intense. It's an intense practice. It's like high altitude training, but in the mind. And it requires paying attention, like really becoming conscious of when am I in doubt? What's the language? We're talking to ourselves all day. What am I saying? What's my language? Is it confident language? Is it language that I would say to a best friend if I was coaching him up? Right? Or is it bullshit language that has me be weak and pause and wait and worry? That's the work.
And how do you get better at checking yourself at that? Is it just by being curious and being present to how you're treating yourself?
Well, I'd like to make, it's a brilliant question. So I'd like to make things simple for people. I think it's one of my greatest skills is to really simplify complexity. So let's keep this simple. And that's important because simple's good. Okay. Simple is good. Simple's amazing. My favorite combo in life is simple, profound. And this is that. Okay. But there's this thing called complexity bias, and people are another thing we learn is that, well, if it's not, in some kind of professional journal with annotations written by a PhD, and if it's not complicated and hard to understand, it can't be valid.
Not
let's
true.
Just let it be simple, because as an athlete, that your best performances in life were, when you're in the zone, it's what one of the descriptors always is: effortlessness. I've asked thousands upon thousands of athletes and performers, describe to me your best performances. And they always say it felt like strangely easy. Like I wish it would never end because there was no worry. I felt like I couldn't screw up. It was amazing. The skis were skiing me. The guitar was playing itself. The golf hole looked like the size of the ocean.
The baseball looked like a absolute huge watermelon. And when you'd hit the ball, you just wouldn't even feel it. You wouldn't even feel it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're like, that feels so natural, right? As the struggle is not natural. So the question you ask is how? How do we practice? So here's my simplest answer for now, till I come up with something simpler. And it's called catch, own, replace. Catch, own, and replace. I want to catch myself whenever I'm feeling unpleasant and I don't want to. There's nothing wrong with feeling unpleasant. There's nothing remotely inappropriate or wrong about feeling unpleasant. We just do way the hell too much. And Buddha dedicated his life to examining the question, like, is any suffering necessary? And his answer was, no. But anyways, so we want to get good at catching myself when I'm feeling unpleasant and I just don't want to, or I can't afford to. Like later this afternoon, I have a huge negotiation with my biggest client. It's a whale. I've made the biggest proposal of my life. And I know in advance that the other people that are going to be on that phone call are going to be talking about why they can't afford it and budget and all this stuff, right? So I need to alter my state big time going into that.
In a situation like that, do you visualize success going into it?
Absolutely, dude. Yes, I'm always visualizing. I'm constantly visualizing the outcomes that I want. And that's an amazingly powerful tool. Well, let's talk about that after the catch, own, replace. Great story for that one too. Great story. So you want to catch yourself when you're feeling uncool and you either don't want to or you just can't afford to. Like I can't afford to later this afternoon, right? So then you own it. And that's a big step by saying, I ain't feeling this way because of what's going on, right? I am not feeling nervous because of this big negotiation coming up. Okay. I'm feeling nervous because I'm thinking like a scrub right now. I'm thinking about what could go wrong. And that's rookie material right there. It's popular, but it's stupid. And then the last step is replace. I want to replace my thinking with everything's with anything, with whatever. That's why I wrote that mantras book. Those are all replacement thoughts, right? So I could replace with like everything's unfolding exactly as it should. Or I could replace with like no one could afford to pay me what I'm worth. And I'm just going to serve the hell out of these people. I'm a delivery boy and I'm telling them about the goods I deliver, and we'll see what's good for them. And I feel totally relaxed. It's like, oh, it's just a conversation. Oh, and historically, I do really well at these things too. So I'm filling my mind with like you did. I'm changing what I'm choosing to fill my mind with, so then I alter my state because what happens, all of my moods come from my thoughts. That's the exercise we did. So the freedom formula, I call it the freedom formula, is think, feel, do, results. How I think governs how I feel. How I feel governs how I do things, and how I do things governs the results that occur in my life.
What I hear you saying is that it really starts on the inside, regardless of what's going on the outside.
Back to Buddha. Buddha said your whole life unfolds according to the way that you think. Your whole life unfolds according to the way that you think. So you brought up visualization. I'm sure you use plenty of imagery in your day. Have you ever heard that story about the prisoner of war, the golfer?
I don't know if I have, no.
So this is a true story. So an American soldier was captured in Vietnam. Everybody knows the details about how horrific that was from all the movies or just reading history. It's just unimaginably horrible.
What was his name?
I don't know. I can't find that. I see the story all over the place, but that's such a great question. If anybody hears this, I would love, just reach out to me. I would love, love, love to know that guy's name. Great question. I think you're the first person ever asked that. Anyway, he's captured and he's, getting tortured and all the things, right? They put him in a little box that's too small for him, and he's naked and there's bugs and it's cold and they're screaming at him and there's bombs going off and out there, and he's going berserk. He's going nuts. As a survival tactic, he decided to pretend that he was home playing golf with his buddies, and he got way into it. Like the more detail that he would do this, that he would imagine this fantasy in, the further away from the horror of his reality he would go. So it's just purely survival. And so he was, was driven by just the desire to survive. But he's doing it in detail. And then he starts, after a while, and he's doing it all day. He's got nothing but time, right? And after a while, like, of visualizing himself playing like okay golf, because he's just like an average okay golfer, like he'll like hit a squirrely shot, and he's thinking to himself, like, why am I doing that? Like, if I'm just going to make this shit up, I may as well make it up to be good, So then he starts nutting it. He starts playing like PGA professional level golf, and he gets really into it, and he feels the shots. And he's like, you talked about sweet spot. And just feeling it, seeing it, and holding it, twirling the club, hearing the sound of the ball going in the hole, and loving it. So he did that for months and months and months. Anyway, he ultimately got rescued, but not before having lost 80 pounds. He was totally atrophied. His muscles were all atrophied. He's all clearly malnourished and all that. So he comes home and he gets some of his strength back and nourishes and all that. And of course, one of the first things that he wants to do is go play for real, right? And his first round back, he had the best round of his life. He careered it on his first, and his friends were like, what the hell? What in God's what the hell were you doing over there? And he said, well, I played a lot of golf. I'm like, shut up. He goes, no, I did, in my head. And then some like research people got wind of this, and they came and interviewed him and discovered that, well, it was the imagery. So he was literally getting better, because when you visualize something, your unconscious mind does not make a distinction between what's imagined and what's real. So it will store that and respond to it. So in this case, he was imagining physical things in addition to mental, like being amazing at golf. So he was reprogramming himself to actually think of himself as a better golfer, and literally he was literally creating muscle memory, because his neurons were firing. If he was hooked up to a biofeedback device while he was in that box, right, it would show all the muscles involved in the golf swing firing, and firing well. So he was literally creating talent. He was getting better as his muscles were shrinking. He was developing great muscle memory, talent, skill, excellence, mastery, just through seeing it, feeling his mind's eye.
Yeah, when I was at Arizona State, we brought in a imagery coach or whatever, and they had us vision, fielding a ground ball successfully And for me, it always stuck in my mind, which actually helps me go to sleep sometime at night. I still think about hitting line drives up the middle because that's when I know that I was in like a flow state when I'd just be hitting line drives up the middle. And, for our listeners out there, I use that now going into whether it's a difficult conversation or a keynote that I'm doing. And I just have a vision of myself being really successful with it, what that looks like. Because what value does it give you, Chris, if you shit the bed on it in your thought process? How's that going to help anything?
We're all visualizing all day anyway. We just don't necessarily know it. And most of us are spending an enormous amount of time thinking about what could go wrong. That's visualizing. You're entertaining thoughts of what you want to avoid. And you don't realize by doing that, you're actually increasing the probability of exactly that outcome occurring. So if we're going to fill our minds, we may as well, like you said a few minutes ago, fill them with excellence. So the mantra for that is visualize perfection.
Yeah, you take the prisoner of war, and I've heard you talk about this, which I think is amazing, that the average person complains to themselves every 11 seconds.
Yeah. Yep. That's what that research study suggests. And I believe it, because, 99% of our complaints happen silently in our minds. They don't even make it out into the spoken world. We're just having a problem with what is so much, so often. And that is, well, to put it bluntly, stupid, right? Because that's a battle that I'll lose 100% of the time when I struggle against reality. Yeah, I'll lose that battle every time. And it's the opposite of the zone, right? It's the opposite of the flow state. I'm not flowing with what is. Like Bruce Lee used to say, be like water. Meaning flow is stuff, man. Work with, not struggle against. And complaining is just so popular and so stupid. It deactivates all creative genius. There's, I don't know, maybe you have an idea, but like I only can think of two possible things why there's value in complaining. Because I don't think humans do anything unless they get something out of it. Right?
I can guess.
But go ahead.
Blame. Complain so you could blame somebody else. So you don't have to take ownership for it.
So interesting.
Do you think I'm off on that?
No, I don't. I never thought about that. Now I think you're spot on that. So now there's three for me in my world. Now there's three reasons: assigning responsiveness or not taking ownership. That's good. And the other is venting, right? Just which is healthy, but it'd be better if you didn't have the steam built up by having a problem with the thing in the first place. So there is no need for venting. It's a better solution. But the other one that I'm aware of is bonding through negativity.
Mm-hmm. Misery loves company, right?
Yeah. Like ripping on people, like bad mouthing people. Oh my God, you wouldn't believe that jackass. I fuck him, and you're bonding. You're going, oh, I know he's such an asshole, and you're getting some bonding with. But the thing about that is the expense of that is so much greater than the reward. So it's just a dumb investment of your emotional
negative energy
currency,
right? Yeah. It's negative energy. So Chris, how do you help people? I got some people in mind that I know that I'm really close to who have a victim mentality. I mean, they really do. Everything is somebody else's fault. They blame. And when you see them in a group of people, they're talking shit all the time, is there a way to help people break out of that? I mean, because when I've tried to have conversations with a specific individual, they get on defensive really quickly.
I hear you on that. So I spend an enormous amount of time in my coaching helping people with that. What I want to do, first of all, it's like you need to have permission. If you're going to be coaching anybody to like change something about themselves, you need to get some permission. Okay. So people are paying me to coach them. I got permission, but your buddy might not have, but it's not the same. So like you preface any of that with like, hey bro, I love you, man. Are you open to some feedback? And if not, it's cool. Still love you, but just as my dear friend, I want to offer you something. Are you open to that? Like, are you open to some coaching on an observation I have? Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't want to withhold it. Something like that. And say, yeah, sure. You jerk off with the fly. What are you talking about? Now, here's a story that I like to tell to normalize victim. None of us are exempt, from learning to be victims of circumstance. In other words, blaming the outer world for the inner world experience.
I'm with you.
All right. So we need to normalize it to really be successful in getting people excited about, first of all, to own the fact that, oh yeah, I totally have victim in me. I totally am victim me. And I'm excited to get rid of it. So that's step one. Here's the story. Little girl comes home from school and she's all smiles. And her mom sees her and says, oh my God, honey, look at you. You're so happy. That's so great. Why? What happened? Did you make a new friend at school today? And the little girl says, there were no new students at school today, Mommy. And the mom says, okay, well, what is it? Why are you so happy? You got cupcakes at recess? And the little girl says, no, we didn't have any cupcakes. I wish we had, because we didn't have any today, though. And then the mom persists. She's like, well, then why are you so happy? You got a sticker in your spelling quiz. And the little girl says, we didn't have any spelling quiz today, Mommy. I see what's going on. I know you. I can tell by your face. You know exactly what the hell. So this is a loving exchange between this precious, impressionable as hell little girl and the most influential human in her universe, her mom. And embedded within the loving dialogue is a disastrous lesson that the mom doesn't know she's teaching and the girl doesn't know she's learning. What is it?
There doesn't need to be a reason.
Yeah, but she's learning that there needs to be a reason.
But that's what the disastrous lesson is
that there needs to be so the girl's learning, the mom is teaching the girl to learn that there's no such thing as causeless joy. Like you don't just pick your moods, like you pick what shirt you're gonna wear. We don't do that. There needed to be an event outside in the outer world that you have like no control over. Right? Like getting a cupcake or having a new friend or getting a sticker, in order for you to experience high grade states. So that she's learning to let the outer world govern the inner world. So that's how sneaky the victim of circumstance learning is. None of us are exempt from it. So I want to just have it be normal. Like we all learn to be we all learn to let outer world circumstances govern us. When I talk about this in workshops, invariably, someone will say, hold on a second, a courageous person who's not really getting it, but they're courageous. And they'll say, are you telling me that like if I get a flat tire, I'm supposed to be happy?
I love the story. You got to tell the story.
Yeah.
I hope you're leaning into that.
And I say, no, you're not supposed to be anything. I'll tell that story in a second. Yeah, you're not supposed to be anything. That's the point. See, it's like, let's stop and just look at your question. Let's just examine your question. I'm so glad you asked it. I'm so glad you have the courage to stand up in front of this whole room and ask it. Because you could sound a little antagonistic, but everybody's thinking it, so good on you. And the answer is hell no. You're not supposed to be happy. You're not supposed to be pissed either, but you are. Think about the nature of your question. Like, I'm supposed to. That's how convinced you are that a flat tire sucks. You are. Could you prove that getting a flat tire sucks? No, it's just your opinion. That's just an interpretation. And it doesn't have you be amazing. Saying this sucks. Pay attention, everybody. Notice how often during the day you think or say, yeah, it sucks, or it sucks. Oh, that sucks. And then start adding to that sentence, unless it doesn't. So get into the habit of saying, oh, this sucks, unless it doesn't. And you're interrupting your old pattern. So you want to hear the flat tire story?
Yeah.
Former coach of mine, his name is Steve Hardison. And he does this cool thing each summer where he'll pick a city in a neighboring state. He lives in Arizona, so he'll pick Salt Lake City or go over to somewhere in Colorado. A few summers ago, he picked Santa Monica, California. And what he does is he fills up his car. He's got a little Porsche. He likes speed. And he fills it up with like books and shirts, just stuff he's going to be giving away, gifts he's going to be giving away to complete strangers that he knows he's going to meet. That's the whole point of these trips that he takes. He goes alone, right? He leaves his wife at home and he goes by himself and he just goes out for a week to co-create magic spontaneously. It's totally awesome. All right. And he documents it really, really well on social media. So we get to watch, it's like inspired reality TV. It's cool. So anyway, he does the whole week. And then at the end of the week, he does the final video post and he says, Top Hat Tour. That's what he called it that year. He comes up with funky names. And the Top Hat Tour is complete for this year. Many miracles were co-created. Now I get to go home. I can't wait to see my beautiful wife, Amy. I love you so much. I can't wait to get home and give you a hug and a kiss. Signing out. So we're like, oh, that's cool. That's amazing. Until a few hours later, Like 3 hours later, there's another post. And it says, apparently Top Hat Tour is not yet complete. There's more magic to be created. I have a flat tire in the middle of the desert in 120-degree heat with no spare, 120 miles out from Phoenix. I get to call Porsche roadside assistance and make someone's day. And he keeps going on. He says, I called Porsche roadside assistance, and Mary answered, and I made her day. Because, she's answering phone calls that aren't really enthused all day long. And he's like, Mary, we got a situation. We're going to kill it. And she's like, oh, my God, sir, are you on drugs? He goes, like, yes, I am. Dopamine and serotonin. And she's just like, man, sir, you are just I love this. You have made my day. And he goes, so what are we going to do? And she said, well, I've already dispatched Paul. He's on his way with a flatbed and coming to pick you up. And he goes, oh, man, Paul, whoo, he's about to have the ride of his life, and he doesn't even know it. This guy, Steve Hardison, the coach, he charges $10,000 just to spend 2 hours with him. People fly around the world, and then he charges $200,000 for a year, paid in full up front. The dude ain't cheap. So she just got like a half hour of coaching. That's probably $5,000, or maybe $2,500 if you do the math. And then, but Paul, the driver, it was a 2-hour deal. So he just got $10,000 worth of free coaching, and it was amazing. He brought him in and introduced him to Amy and all this. And the guy's like, wow. So I'm telling this story because it's really relevant to my work. It's a very handy story. And I know the guy so well. So I'm sharing this. Like, stories are great. So I'm telling this story one time and I'm thinking, am I making shit up? Like, am I embellishing any of this for my own, agenda here? So I call him up. I'm like, yo, Steve, I'm telling your flat tire story a lot. I got 2 clarification questions to make sure that I'm not making shit up here. I want to be really transparent when I share this. He goes, all right, what do you got? And I said, 1, swear to be honest, no bullshit. How long did it take for you to get amped up after you found out you got a goddamn flat in the middle of the desert, middle of summer, right in Arizona with no spares, huh? Serious. And he goes, 0 seconds. Like, all right, then. Then a second and final clarification question. How are you able to do that? And he said, years and years of practice. I said, I'm telling the story perfectly. Thank you, brother. Love you. Bye. Years and years of practice. Practicing upgrading your interpretations of reality. Stopping having a problem with so much of everything. So it's true, and I believe him. I mean, I've watched the man in action. I've seen him in moments that I would be like scared in, and he's like, no, we good. It's just like doing like Tai Chi or any kind of martial art for years and years and years, and you get a 10th degree black belt. Like if me and you walking down the street, and you're a 10th degree black belt in Tai Chi Chuan, and I have never had one class in any martial art, and some dude comes running at us with a knife, looking crazed. I'm like, bro, we got fuck out of here. And you're like, no, simmer, it's all good. And I'm like, no, not good. And you're like, bro, it's simmer. Yeah, ain't nothing bad gonna happen here. And you've earned that because this is not, you're experiencing this. There's one reality going on. There's a guy with a knife running at us. By virtue of your training, this situation is non-threatening. By virtue of my absence of training, this is a really bad deal. 2 completely different interpretations of one event. But by virtue of you having done the work, you can experience this peacefully. And that if he comes out, you're going to just use your skills. So there won't be a problem. Maybe a problem for him, but not for you or me. Right? So it's the same thing with this mental mastery training. It's like, so he said years and years of practicing what? Well, we talked about it earlier, catch, own, and replace. Getting into, I say I take 0 seconds off of this.
Right. Okay. But some people might look at that and say, Chris, that sounds exhausting that you take 0 seconds off.
Yeah. And it isn't. And yeah, right. And I do hear that. And it's not exhausting. You know what it is? It's actually invigorating because I'm in the practice of altering my states up where energy comes from, where all good things come from. Right? Motivation, inspiration, enthusiasm, levity, lightness of being. What's exhausting is spending so much time having a problem with reality. That is exhausting.
One thing that you sent me when we first talked that I'll put in the show notes that I loved was Stephen Chandler's that audio link about the difference between a victim and an ownership
I'm
mindset.
so glad you have that. I swear to God, going to suggest that we share that with your audience.
Well, 100%. And what triggered me to say that was he talked about these different terms that people use or they thought, and the victims are always about, I'm so exhausted, and and
And
the language and
overwhelmed.
overwhelmed. Yes, yes. I'm overwhelmed. I'm exhausted. I'm so tired.
Oh, it's been a crazy week.
Oh, why does this have to happen to me all the time? Can
me.
you believe it?
Living in the happening to me world. That is, tell you what, that's 30 minutes of freaking gold.
Living me happy. Let me tell you a story, and our listeners probably heard about this before, time and time again. 7 years ago, Chris, I didn't tell you this. I was diagnosed with a degenerative eye disease. Okay, and so I lose most of my central vision, um, maybe all of it. Who knows? But for some reason, I've never lost sleep over it, and I've never looked at it as, why is this happening to me? And the way I do look at it kind of is like, why not, why wouldn't this happen to me? What's different from me than anybody else? Right? I mean, and by the way, I'm a little grateful in the sense that, hey, I'm not dead. There could be things a lot worse than that. And I don't know. It's just interesting. And I don't know. We'll see how it progresses or whatnot. I mean, I can't do things like play catch with my kid or drive, but one gift in that is I don't like driving, you know, you know what I mean?
What, Damon, is important for people to understand as they're listening to you, that you're not looking at life through rose-colored glasses. That's a very huge distinction that needs to be made clear. Rose-colored glasses are for people that don't have the balls to experience reality in a profound way.
Thank you.
Right. So you need to fuck it up. You need to, alter, like putting a silver lining on platinum, or like experience reality as it is. Because reality as it is fucking good.
And that's and life goes up and down. We all have our ups and downs. And my thing is, and look, I don't lead with it. I don't go around talking about it or anything, whatever. But if it comes up, I mean, I talk at different events for it and stuff. But look, I've got 2 little kids and I have a business, and I want to show that I'm, first of all, vulnerable enough to share that kind of stuff. And I know at the end of the day, it's going to work out. You have to learn to live within your constraints. And there's not enough time on earth to just sit around and have those negative, exhausting thoughts. I'm like, screw it. Like you said, it's just, this is what it is. And you have to do something.
I love is I create excellence from everything. I create excellence from everything, not almost everything, everything. Right. So I want to create, we're always creating, whether we're creating misery or we're creating excellence, we're always creating. So it's like, okay, so this is an event that it's a condition, a degenerative sight condition that I did not want, and it is real.
And it won't go away.
So what do I want to create from that? And that you get to live in that inquiry. What can I create from this? And look, you're creating right now with it, from it. And you're standing on stages, using it to inspire humans to upgrade their interpretations of reality. Well, you're creating that. That's fucking amazing.
Thank you.
Right? So props to you, bro, for that. So you're creating, and you can talk about that. Like, what are you doing with what is? Now, there's a great book by Byron Katie. Have you ever heard of her, Byron Katie?
You brought her up last time we spoke.
Oh, did I? Oh, I'm not surprised because she's a legend. Her name, her first name is Byron. Her last name is Katie. So it's a little weird, and everybody calls her Katie. But she's done this work for so long. In fact, Steve Harris, the guy with the flat tire, he coached her. And as a result, I get these stories. And Steve Chandler has worked with her a ton. So my 2 big coaches are really familiar with her and her work. So I get these stories. Like, here's one. And this is a story that is an example of what's possible when you really do the work, the inner world work of upgrading the way that you respond to reality consistently for years. I'm not saying this is how anyone should respond in this event. It's just a possibility. So She's doing one of her public events. Hundreds of people show up, right? For like, she'll do 9-day events or 3-day events. And it's all this. It's all the work. It's all the work. So people just come up on stage and sit in the chair and talk about what sucks in their life. And then she does the work with them. So they go, oh, wow, it doesn't suck. That's just a shitty interpretation. And that's amazing. So she's done this work she's just really odd because of, in a beautiful way. So she's doing one of her events and they're all on break. She's out in the foyer. And this dude comes up to her with a gun. He sticks the gun in her rib cage and says, bitch, I'm going to kill you because you're fucking with all these people's brains and stealing their money.
You're kidding me.
Her immediate this is what she said. This is her immediate response. Oh, honey, sweetie, I don't blame you. If I were believing the thoughts you were believing, honey, I would want to shoot me too, sweetheart.
How in the world did she come up with that in that moment?
Because she's done the work, and the dude told her why. He didn't just say, I'm going to kill you. If he said that, she might be
You're
like,
taking the money.
That's fascinating. I've never been shot before. I wonder what that'll feel like. I wish that you wouldn't, sweetheart, because everybody in the world to her is sweetheart and honey. But he actually gave her more data. He said, because I'm going to kill you let me tell you why I'm going to shoot you, because you're screwing with people's minds and stealing your money. And she's so present that she has eliminated fear as a response from her life. It's possible. She did it. I ain't nowhere near that, but that's what I'm working towards all day, every day. So she heard what was really being communicated. And this guy's truth is he's convinced that she's screwing people over. And she said to him, sweetheart, I don't blame you. My God, if I were believing the thoughts that you're believing, I would be pretty pissed off as well. That's incredible.
So how, Chris, and maybe the answer again is catch, own, and replace, but how do we help people overcome or become more comfortable with fear or even failure?
Well, I deconstruct failure. See, there's no failure in my world. There are just shitloads of attempts and lots of outcomes.
And that's all data and learning.
Exactly. Yep. That's exactly right. That's it. Celebrating and learning. Can't lose. So I don't help people deal with failure. I don't want to help people deal with anything. I want to help people create from everything. So failure, so just stop believing in it is a really good option. Is stop buying into that construct. Could you hand me some failure? On the other hand, hand me a doubt. No, those are just constructs. And they don't have me be amazing. So when I don't get what I want, that's like that person that asked Thomas Edison after he just finished inventing the light bulb. Like, God, how did you feel after 999 failures or failed attempts? It's like, what are you talking about? It's like every one of those moves got me closer to the light. You're welcome. So it's forward progress if you have it be.
That is the way to look at it.
It's a way, and it's a way that I highly recommend.
But there's got to be some, unless you're perfect, there's got to be some limiting beliefs that you have yourself that you have to fight through on a regular basis that don't go away, right?
All day. All day. Like I told you about this negotiation.
That's what I was thinking about. Yeah.
You know, so by the way, the 3 people that are going to be on that call, I love them. We've known each other for a long time. I've coached their sons. One's come to my house for coach. Like, we're good. We're boys. But this is a business conversation. And I grew up learning unbelievably shitty thoughts about money. Most of us have. I really did. I grew up in a very scarcity-based, money-thinking household. So I haven't unlearned all that shit, man. So I still have nervousness when I think about this meeting in 2 hours from now. So I got to do the work, man. I do the work. I squash that shit. And one of my mantras for that, though, is, I'm going to do a lot of work. After we hang up, I'm going to start my pregame. I got an hour and a half before this meeting. I'm going to spend 90 minutes pre-gaming where I'm going to be talking to myself like a boss. And one of the mantras is, I'm going to flip through my own damn mantras book and see what other ones I'm not thinking of that are going to be useful. But the one that is useful is nervous can't exist in service. I am a servant to these people. They can talk about budget and restriction, all that shit. I don't care. I'm just like, okay, well, how do you want me to serve you? I just want to make you guys money and have your people feel amazing, be amazing, and sell more shit. So whatever, I'm just a servant. So, and when I remember that, bro, nervous can't even get in there.
it doesn't get in there because you're again, I believe you're taking action and you're doing something about it. And what I've always found trying to overcome imposter syndrome or limiting beliefs is that when you're taking that, putting that activity and trying to focus on being positive, it prevents the nervousness from getting in.
Well, nervousness. Okay, that's interesting.
Nervousness is
I said
okay.
it. I said
I think
get
you
in.
have to have. You said
I
I
said
think
nervousness
nervousness
can't
is
get
good.
in, and I don't like the language that I use.
Okay.
That's actually victim language. I just use victim language. All right.
Okay. There you go.
I said
Yeah.
nervousness can't get in because, like, from where? What are you talking about? It doesn't get in from outside. You create it with shitty, disastrous future thinking. So it doesn't get in. It gets out. You create it. Right. So nervous. I'm going to so thank you for drawing my attention to my own victim language here. That's pretty ironic, but it's real. I'm always doing the work, man. I am my first client. Nervous can't exist in service. So the rephrasing of that is, I cannot create nervousness when I'm creating the state of like enthusiastic servanthood.
I don't think there's anything wrong with a little bit of nervousness. I know going into a baseball game or going into a tough call or a podcast, having a little bit of that helps your being a little bit more alert. But I get what you're saying.
Well, I actually I would debate that with you someday over a beer.
Okay. Okay.
No, because I agree that there's nothing inappropriate about it. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not the best approach. And maybe you differ. And I've heard a lot of amazing athletes say the same thing you just said, right? But I think that most of them learn that. And they think, well, but just like if you want to use the nervousness, yeah, but when you but I got to tell you, when I ask people about their best ever performances, maybe they were nervous before it, but not during it.
I'm with you on that because to me, if I don't have any kind of nervousness and I get flat-footed, I don't perform as well, But when the game starts, the game starts.
So what if you can not have nervousness and not be flat-footed? Like, it's not having nervousness doesn't mean you don't care. How about you have fire intensity? Like my game face, which is a peak performance mentality, is warrior, expert, Buddha. You can guarantee I'm going to be activating the warrior, expert, and the Buddha in the next 90 minutes.
And you're going to get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to create the state. Create the state, don't wait. What state are you creating? Well, I'm creating this warrior, expert, Buddha. That's my peak performance state. The state where I am fiercely competitive. I am the best in the world at what I do, and I'm infinitely at peace.
One of the most successful people I know is like that. My grandfather, he nothing got to him and he thought he could accomplish anything. And what he went from no money to what he was able to create was unbelievable. I've got two more questions for you because I want to give you the time to be able to prepare. One is, I've heard you say, what's another antacid mantra that you have to dealing with making sure you're not below the O line, which we talked about, which is low grade thinking?
I got to tell you, before I even answer that, props to you, bro, because I've done a lot of podcasts and not too many people do the level of research and preparation that you obviously have. You're tossing me lobs, bro. You're tossing me lobs.
But this stuff's important.
You
know what I mean? And your time's valuable.
It's good. I'm just saying
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Ain't bad, just is. That's what I call the great neutralizer mantra. And I actually stole that from Hamlet, from Shakespeare, of all places. As a South Jersey boy, I like to dumb shit down and kind of Jerseyfy it, So Hamlet, in Act 2, Scene 2, Hamlet is in prison, I believe, wrongly imprisoned by the king of Denmark, I think. And he's sitting in jail going, this sucks. This fucking sucks. Now I can say it like that, but...
Maybe he did.
Okay, that's exactly how he said it. And that sounds Shakespearean to me, right? And
then, absolutely.
And then he thought about it. He goes, wait, well, and then he goes, well, unless it doesn't actually, maybe it just is. And that was, so the real line was something like, nothing good or bad happens, but thinking makes it so. Like that's the phrase from Hamlet. So I love that. And I turned it into my Jersey boy version, which is ain't bad, just is. It ain't bad. It ain't good either. It just is. How do you want it to be? And all human peak performance research indicates that when I interpret things as problematic, I'm not amazing. When I interpret things as opportunistic, I am. So I use that ain't bad, just is all the time as instantaneous replacement thought for sucks.
And how many times a day do we say that to ourselves all the time? Oh man, that sucks.
Yeah. Pay
Ain't
attention.
bad, just this. All right, here's one thing you brought up, which I loved on our pre-call, and I want to make sure I get it right. What's your take on birthday cakes and blowing out candles?
You talked about that? That's so fun. Yeah, I think it's stupid.
Hey, because hold on a second, but keep in mind, even though I'm the old guy, 52, I got a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old, so I go to a lot of parties, and I've been telling this to all my buddies.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. So I want you to.
Good, man. I'd love to hear how they receive that. I think it's a weak ritual. It's like I forget what it is. What was some Disney when you wish upon Peter Pan. When you wish upon a star. It's like, wait, whoa. What's this bullshit? You wishing like as if I'm not the creator of my life. I don't want to rely on wishing. I don't want to light candles and make a wish and blow them out and hope the universe provides. No, I'm the creator of my life. So instead, I encourage people to say, hey, daughter of mine, you guys said it's your 7th birthday. You got 7 candles. Make a decision and then blow them out. You're going to make a birthday decision. Decide what's something you want to create for yourself in your life and get all in on it. Infinitely committed. That's how powerful you are. You don't have to tell anybody what it is. Just make a call, make a decision in your mind and have that be the learning. Have that be a ritual, right? Where you're literally teaching your children that they have the power to totally create their lives, even in the midst of so much uncertainty. That's some powerful shit right there, as opposed to go, I hope so.
Get himself laughing. I love it. Hey, Chris, I mean, maybe I'll try to recap a little bit here. All the things we talked about, we talked about victim mentality, right? And we talked about, creating, owning, and replacing your thoughts.
Catch, own, and replace. Catch,
own, and replace.
Yeah.
We talked about some of your favorite mantras. We talked about so much of what people can do and about how we complain to ourselves almost every 11 seconds. But we have that choice. And we walked through that amazing exercise about how we're able to alter our thoughts. And we went through from one spectrum to the other, back and forth. But the only way to do all this is you got to, and we didn't even get into too much of this, but you got to put in the reps. You got to do the work and be consistent with putting in the reps and doing the work, because it all comes down to your thinking. If you don't think you can get things done, then you have no chance of being able to get it done. What's one more thing that you want to leave with before we end up here?
I would encourage people to create your own, a couple things. One is to create your own version of my best damn day of your life. Okay? Just like best day ever, or just elevate your state. First thing, don't wait for shit to go good to feel great. Flip that around and you'll see when you feel great first, you're going to create a lot more excellence in your days. Okay? So flip it around, create the state, don't wait. And another is something that we didn't talk about at all, which is called the success story folder. It's a really powerful tool. And I'm not at my main residence right now. If we were, it'd be sitting right here on my desk, the success story folders. So I've been doing it for years. So whenever you get good feedback, like you're getting good feedback from me on being a phenomenal podcast host, you would capture that. You write it down. Say CD's guest, and gave me mad props for my preparation and podcasting skills, and throw it into the success story folder and have that folder not be digital, have it be physical, have it be in your eyesight somewhere where your eyeballs go all the time, as it serves as a physical reminder of how badass you are. Because part of the conditioning of our past is to get good at acknowledging where we fall short, where we're inadequate. And we want to flip that to get great. Like when we're kids, we're like, I'm the best singer in the world, even if you can't carry a note. But the confidence is natural, normal, and good and helpful, useful. Let's get back to that. So have that tool, the success story folder, be a tool to help remind you, oh yeah, I am designed for excellence. I'm a miracle designed to create miracles.
No, I love that. I mean, it's something you can refer to when you're having a bad day or something doesn't go your way. You can go back and look at some of the great successes that you've had.
It helps you elevate state. That's all the function. That's the function of it. It's not to boost your ego. It's to help you remember, oh yeah, I am designed for excellence.
Yeah, that's awesome. Where can our listeners connect with you at?
All over social media. My website is christopherdoris.com. And I'm really active on LinkedIn and also very active on Facebook, even Instagram. That's all automated, but Facebook isn't. But yeah, every day is probably 5 or 6 posts on LinkedIn. It's all stuff about mental mastery. And yeah.
You
You know what else is you check? Okay, so on my homepage, here's a good call, is to go either on my homepage or christopherdorris.com/DD. That stands for Daily Dose. You can just go to my homepage if you want, and right there on the right-hand side on the homepage is a sign up for my Daily Dose, which is called the Daily Dose Mental Toughness Tips in 30 Seconds or Less. So if you sign up for that, just put your name, first name, and your email. That's it. There's no solicitations. There's no advertising. It's free for now. And if you get on there now, if it ever does become a paid subscription, you'll be grandfathered in as free. So it's free. And what it is about 6 a.m., wherever you are in the world, as long as you sign up in your time zone, you'll get 365 days a year, a little nugget of mental mastery, right? To help you have it be the best day of your life, or to help you get your head right first thing in the day, to help remind you, even if you don't open it, you just see it. Chris, the Daily Dose, like, oh yeah, it's that mental stuff. Oh yeah, I got tools. I got elevate. I ain't gonna complain today. I'm gonna complain less. So it's really valuable and it's free.
And one thing, listeners, I wanted to point out is that I bought 50 books from Chris, and he autographed all of them and signed different mantras, some that we're not even going to talk about here, to my friends and everybody. And it's a great, easy to read book. That again, you get your daily dose, but you can kind of go through those mantras, and you could learn a little more. And I think it's another great thing to refer to.
Yeah, you know what? That's the best. I've written 4 books, and that is by far the best. The book of mental toughness mantras. Like I said, I'm gonna go get my copy out now and leaf through it, and to help me get my head right for this really important phone call I'm about to have.
Well, you're gonna crush it on the phone call, and I'm gonna put in the show notes links to both your daily dose and to your mantra book. And for our listeners out there, I want you to do me a favor for yourself. But for others who maybe play the blame game or victims, do me a favor, send them this episode, but do what Chris said. Ask them for permission to say, hey, I want to send you this episode. I'm hope you're okay with checking it out. I think there's some great things in here. So I think that there's a lot of value. I've really enjoyed our conversation today, Chris. And everybody, like I like to say, stay curious, keep learning, have a great day. And Chris, knock it out of the park today on your call.
If you're not connected to the people that you're trying to influence, so ultimately the people that you're probably trying to sell to, you are invisible. And this is the thing that people just